All right, so I went from making about $2,000 a month, right, closer to 3,000, right, to now making $500 a month, right. Okay, now when I was making $2,000 a month, I was teaching English in South Korea. I enjoyed it. I learned a lot, right. Kind of working like a missionary English teacher. Now, why am I mentioning this, right? This is important because I want you to understand something very important, that why I have chosen to become a self-funded missionary, okay? Not missionary, rather evangelist, okay? And the question you ask me, okay, why is it relevant to me, right? So I'm speaking to people who like believe that God has called them to do something, right? They want to do it, but they're not quite sure how to solve the money problem, all right? So I'm gonna explain to you the journey that I'm on, and maybe it can help you. Does it make sense? Okay, so I was making about $2,000 a month. Okay, it was about 5 years ago, right? About $2,000, just over, which for me is not a lot of money. And when did I realize that it's not a lot of money? I realized it's not a lot of money when I got married, right? I got married to a woman with two children, and not mine, all right? And it especially became significant to me when I realized when I had my own child with this woman, right? I say this woman because we divorced now, my ex-wife, all right? And so when I was working as an English teacher, we're working funny hours, right? We'll start in the morning, have a few hours during the day, and then in the afternoon, then at night again, we finish about 9 o'clock, right? Sometimes 8 o'clock, whatever. Now, I had a child and I had two other children, my stepkids, okay? So my ex-wife, her mother would help her out, but at one point she had to go back to her home country, and then my mom came. My wife and I, we had a fight about something. My mom had to leave. So here's our child, who's a baby, not even you know, as I'm talking about this, it just stirs up something in me, like so anyway, there was nobody to watch him. So in between classes, we had to go and watch him, because he was there in the stroller. When I think about it, it upsets me so much. It really upsets me when I think about it. Okay, kind of thing, and that's when I realized, what? I don't want to work for somebody anymore. I want to make my own money. Now, I made a lot of mistakes, and I went about it the wrong way in the beginning, and all of that, kind of thing, right? But I just thought to myself, you know what? Never again will I let somebody put myself in that situation. If I ever have a child again, right? That that I would allow that, right? Imagine somebody telling you when you can go on vacation. You have a child. There's nobody to take care of the child. Both you and your wife are working. This is the crazy thing about when you work for money. Okay, now it's a reality, but it's a reality that can be changed. All right, because that 2,000 in South Korea is just enough, right, for you to live kind of like a comfortable life, but still to be enslaved to the system. Do you understand what I'm saying? So that's the situation I found myself in. And I loved sharing the gospel. And I was in this marriage that it could have been better, it wasn't the best of marriages, whatever, right? Anyway, it ended, right? So it wasn't that wonderful kind of thing. And I'm not blaming my ex wife, whatever. That's not the point. The point is, the thing is, the lack of freedom. I couldn't take care of my child to be there. He was just a baby, he was just born. Do you understand? Imagine that working on your mind. I used to have to teach for money. So I was working for money, not money working for me. All right. But now I'm making about $500. Okay. But I have freedom. Okay. I have freedom to basically do what I want. I go and exercise where I want. I, what else do I do? Let me see. Right. Freedom to share the gospel when I want, which is something that I'm so passionate about. Okay. Freedom to build my business, which I'm doing right now, right? So I might be making about 500, about $600 a month, right? Kind of thing. And it's another story how I ended up where I am right now, right? I'm not going to tell that story right now, but the point is, I have that kind of freedom right now, right? So I was making about closer to about 2,800 a month, right? Dollars, almost $3,000, right? To to where I am right now, all right? I had no freedom. Now I have freedom. So I'm not working for money, but the money is working for me as I build my business. All right. So there's another part to the story. I'm not going to share my personal life with you. I'm just kind of sharing why do I make $500 now as opposed to $2,000 to $3,000, right? Kind of thing. Because now I have freedom to do what I want, right? Kind of thing. There's another story to this. Okay, I'm also working at this because personal issues that I need to deal with, or I need money for other issues, right? But on the one hand, I'm building my business, right? I'm sharing the gospel, right? because my mission in life, my goal in life is to share the gospel. All right, to raise my son, also to share the gospel, but not just to be a broke missionary. He needs to be wealthy while sharing the gospel. So that's my dream for him, and I just hope he ends up doing it better than I did. Okay, kind of thing. And maybe you find yourself in that situation. Now think about it. Maybe you're working for somebody, and there's nothing wrong with working for somebody. Okay, because you can serve God and work for somebody. But maybe you think, you know what, I want to make more money. Oh, by the way, guys, how am I making that $500? I didn't explain that, right? So I'm helping a friend, right, with content. He's an author. So I manage his social media, his Facebook page, okay, creating content for him. Now I could charge him way, way more than what I'm charging him, right? But we haven't. He was kind to me in the past a few years ago, so I'm helping him out, right? So while I'm building my business, so I'm not relying. I need that right now, but I'm not relying fully on it. So he's my client, all right? Do you get what I'm saying? That's how I'm making $600 a month. But I have freedom right now. Do you know what I'm saying? So hopefully 3 months from now, okay, after you've watched this video, I'll be able to tell you now I'm making $20,000 a month or $10,000 a month. Did you get what I'm saying? 10K a month, because that's my goal. My goal is to eventually make $1 million a month. All right? That's just because of the dream that I have and the vision that I have for my own life. I'm not making that right now. So I'm being transparent with you. I'm telling you this is where Keith is right now. All right? So why am I being transparent? Oh, by the way, I just want to say something, guys. If you're curious as to what skills are needed to do what I'm doing, because I use a lot of AI to create my content, not exclusively, right? But a lot of AI. AI saves me a lot of time, right? If that's curious, that's something you want to learn more about, right? Just check out. I have like a platform, a membership thing, right? You can check it out for 7 days for free, okay? And to see if you try out the content there, see if it's something that you like, okay? Just click the link below this video. You'll find the link below this video. Okay, having said that, guys, okay, so that's my point, right? So I went from making about $2,000 to $3,000 a month. I had no freedom. You know, I had to watch my child. I had to look after my child in between classes. Obviously, imagine I'm working under those environments. The people that you are working with, right? Who own the school, the academy. What's going through there? It's, I need to get rid of these people, right? Kind of thing. Do you understand what I'm saying? No freedom to travel, no freedom to do what I want. I had to ask to go on vacation. So I told myself never again. Okay? So a lot of things happen in between to where I am right now, making about $600 a month. About a year ago, I was like living off borrowed money. Do you get what I'm saying? And I told myself, I will make this business work. I'll make it work. And maybe you find yourself in that situation. Maybe that's you, right? Maybe you think, you know what, Keith, I want to do what God has called me to do. And I want to maybe just go full time into the ministry, right? And I don't want you to be a broke missionary. You know, people wear that broke missionary like it's a badge. I don't think it's from God. We reference Paul, the tent maker, right? Kind of thing. It's all about you. It's about what do you want? What kind of life do you want to live? What standard do you want to live at, right? If people are living here, I want to live here, right? I want to be, I don't want to just scrape by because I know what it's like. I know what it's like to have zero and to live like that for years, okay? I get it. I know. I know what it's to be kind of like middle class kind of thing, you know, making just enough. So it seems like you're living a comfortable life, right? But you don't really have freedom to do what you want, right? And now I'm working towards having financial freedom because I know, like Paul says, I know what it means to be abased and I know what it means to abound, right? He knows both. And what he's learned in that process is that I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength. He's learned to be content and he's learned that he can do all things through Christ who gives him strength, right? So that's very important. So Paul went through all of it. Not having much, having much, right? And he's learned in all of that to be content and that he can do all things through Christ who gives him strength, okay? Does it make sense, right, guys? So that's my story and for you as well, right? If you want to be a self-funded evangelist or whatever God has called you to do, right? Okay, that's that's my story, and I hope that you can get something out of that, right? So I'm telling more of a story than telling you what to do. In another video, I'll tell you more what to do, the steps, right? But the idea is you need the right skills, right? Skills that people need, they're willing to pay you for, so that you don't have to work for somebody if you want to do what I'm doing and make even more, 10 times more, right? You get what I'm saying? So check out the link below this video. You can try it out for free, like for 7 days, literally, right? And see how I create content because I have a client that's paying me every month, right? Kind of thing, and that's how I'm sustaining myself. So that's something that you're interested in. So check it out. God bless you. Okay.